And welcome back to the Sebs Show, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Sebs here with your co-host Gib. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Me and Gib were just talking. We definitely had a wonderful Christmas. I got some MMA apparel. He got sick Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali
Yeah,
shirt.
Muhammad Ali, awesome shirt.
I got a nasty Nick Diaz sweater and whatnot, some other stuff. And what pretty much, man, fucking we're going into this new year, last quarter of the year, actually December 30th. So UFC 219, Cyborg versus Holm. And then we got, going into the new year, we got Fight Night 124, Stevens versus Choi. um I believe right after that we got UFC 220. And then we got Jacare versus Brunson. So we're going to the new year with some stacked cards, man. I like it. I like it a lot. The UFC 219 card took a hit, man. It lost Jimmy Rivera and John Lineker, one of the bigger fights on the card. I don't know. I think they're putting Khalil Roundtree as the in the on the main card now. I'm not completely sure what they're doing with that, but hopefully, I'm still buying the event. I know that for sure. I need to watch my girl do work in the main event. So let's get it. We're gonna start off. We got Marvin Vettori minus 205, Mario Akhmetov plus 180. And I'm eyeing my boy Marvin Vettori all day here. I got Marvin Vettori 3 units.
Okay.
With somebody else later in the card. Omari gasses sometimes, man, especially later in the round, especially if he's facing a guy who's pressuring him all the time and he's fighting off his back foot. He doesn't seem to do the best. He seems to do way better when he's pressuring forward, and when he's using relentless takedowns. He's not going to be able to take down Marvin here. Marvin's high accomplished grappler himself, and he's just way bigger and he's dominant. He was in the clinch and he was fighting off takedowns with Alberto Carlos Jr., like world championship grappler, one of the best grapplers I believe in the UFC, 100%. Looked good in that fight for a little bit, and then obviously knocked out or not knocked out, choked out Alberto Uda. And then in his most recent fight against Vitor Miranda, lit him up. Seems to gas a little bit, which is somewhat of a problem, but he gasses usually comes in the third round. He's a big middleweight, man. Could arguably fight at light heavyweight. And he's coming in against Omar Akhmetov, who's making his middleweight debut here. I don't like this move up for Omari at all. He was doing pretty good at welterweight too. He just beat up Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. Not bad. Yeah, good fight, man.
Especially his Al-Hassan's resume.
Yeah, coming in with that judo background and knocking everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he nullified that. I thought he looked good and stuff, but it's hard to gauge where he's going to look at in middleweight, especially against who I believe is actually a top middleweight prospect in Marvin Vettori. How he's going to look against them, who's a huge middleweight, like I'm saying, man, is like absolutely big for the middleweight division. I think Marvin lights him up on the feet, always pressing forward, and eventually, if he doesn't get the TKO, he secures a 30-27 decision here. I like Marvin Vettori a lot here. I got him 3 units with somebody later in the card. How about you, Gib? What do you like here?
What I really like is the style that Vettori goes in with. He's a great southpaw. He puts a lot of strong pressure on his fights and can normally get a decision if he needs to, or even lock up. Decision if he needs to, lock up a submission if his game's really good enough, which it is. He's got great submission game. He's very tall. You're right. Super young. He has great leg kicks and abuses fighters who are, kind of one-trick ponies, guys who are really going for kind of one big shot. And I can see Akhmetov kind of going in for that, because he does have a great right hand. So I think he might struggle to land it if he constantly does that. But like I was saying about the Al Hassan fight, he really took him to the deep end and really beats up guys in the corners. He comes out with some really devastating combinations, and even taking a few punches, this guy lands a few shots and guys get really hesitant against him. And I think that could play into his part now. He is a little bit older. He is making a big change in weight as well, just to go for this. I think it's probably because he maybe is having trouble making the weight now. So it could be Marvin's fight based off of that. But I actually do like Omari in this one, so I'm taking him over this. He might have a good game plan, good body for it. And yeah, you're right. They're both very tall, but they should be around the same size. At least that's what I've looked at. They're both about 6 foot.
Yeah, they're both like 6 foot.
I mean, maybe there could be a difference when we get in the ring and we see
in the frame. You can just see like in the frame. He's just like he has a way bigger frame, Marvin Vettori, than Akhmetov. Akhmetov is more of like a stubby guy, you know. He's still 6 feet tall, but he's still like stubby little. He has that Russian built to him, and then like Marvin's just like a very well built fucking athlete. He just looks like a monster.
Oh yeah, but I think I got Omari in this fight. I think he maybe comes off on a bit of a sneak attack and hits Vettori in a blind spot, because I think watching Vettori, he is very good, but I think the only thing is with his southpaw stance, he seems to kind of lower the shoulder a little bit when he's super confident. I think a big high kick or some left hook over the top could do something if Akhmetov gets desperate enough, and in those corners, and when he really buckles down and gets his 2 feet on the floor and flat, he can really send some people flying. He's got some great power, and a lot of people have to respect it. It'll be a good fight for sure, though. I think somebody's getting knocked out in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be hard for it to go to the decision here. But next up, we do have Tim Elliott, minus 205 favorite, taking on Mark De La Rosa, plus 180. And let me start off with Mark De La Rosa. He's Montana De La Rosa, who's formerly known as Montana Stewart's husband. Competed in Combate Americas and most recently Combate 15. He's 9-0, good bantamweight. I believe he's the number one bantamweight across Texas. Top prospect. This is somebody that they've been looking at for a while now. And he's coming in at fighting Tim Elliott at 135, something I don't like for Tim Elliott in this fight, being at a weight class up, something that this guy's used to. He's only 5'4". This kid, for the bantamweight division, it's like not too big, but he's got some powerful takedowns, some strong grappling. He's got the willingness to finish guys, and he can crack, man. So he's hard to like.
It's hard. He gets more submissions than he does KOs. But in a lot of his highlights I saw, it was a little difficult to find footage on this guy. But he really does crack. And the fight that I did see him in, there were a lot of exchanges back and forth. Yeah,
that one fight on Fight Pass is that he hasn't come back to is like he was working that one guy for a while, man, and he's relentless with his takedowns. You can see his slams and stuff in that one. But he's going against Tim Elliott, who's literally relentless, and his takedowns will go for takedowns every 2 seconds. That guy nonstop pressure, very good. He has an awkward stance where he's like very viable to get hit a lot, where he'll have his hands down a lot, kind of like he tries to simulate a Dominic Cruz, but he's not fast enough to throw his hands up and block or anything. But it works for some guys. It depends who he's going against. If he's going against a guy who's not a strong grappler, I'm taking Tim all day. But even if you like Pietro Manga, he's pretty good grappler. I had Tim 4 units against him before Pietro pulled out, and then now he's facing Mark De La Rosa here, coming off undefeated. He's trained with some top guys too. At the top of my head, I can't remember, but I know they brought him in. I think for like John Dodson camp and stuff. Like from some top camps he's been a part of. I think this guy's the real deal too, Mark De La Rosa. So I'm not surprised in anyone taking a shot on him, even though he's being the debutant here. But against Tim Elliott on short notice, man, it's gonna be hard. This is probably like what 2 week notice. Fighting at 135. Tim's gonna comfortably make 135. I feel like this guy like. I don't know how comfortably he makes weight, and he's a natural 135er, so I don't know how he can make weight in the 2 weeks if that's going to affect him at all. But I do favor, I favor Mark De La Rosa in this one. I think he gets the job done. I think there's, especially like some of the stuff that's been going on in Tim's life, like God bless, like Robert Follis, man, rest in peace. But like he lost his head coach. That's something hard to fight through. I'm not sure if like I would take a fight at. It's up to him ultimately, but I'm not sure if I'd take a fight after that. But yeah, Mark De La Rosa looks like he's a solid prospect, man. How about you? What do you think?
Oh, I agree. Mark De La Rosa is absolutely smashing people and just going through guys like it's nothing. But Tim Elliott does have a very awkward style with a game plan that is very used to schooling guys who think they can come in and get an easy win over this guy. I think Tim Elliott has a lot of experience, and it showed in the Ben 10 win fight. He was able to lock that one up, and I don't think a lot of people had him picked in that fight, actually.
What fight? Ben 10 fucked him up. Yeah, Ben 10 choked him out.
Even his loss over that was okay, but like, he does lose against the elite top of the top guys. He his first fight in the UFC with unusual style, and it seems to throw people off. Like from the minute he got into the Ultimate Fighter back on,
Yeah.
Mark Del Roy's super tough kid on the block, and he's got to really show what he's got with his hard-hitting style and a lot of great submissions, actually, which is how Benton got him. So, we could see that because I think his awkward style that Tim Elliott has does tend to leave him really open for some cool little submissions if you can get the back take. But, Tim's got some super good toughness, amazing skill. I think this is going to be close, but if you were to bet on anyone, I think it would be Mark De La Rosa. He can just run through him and throw something interesting and connect. I think if he does something special, and again, he's a kid who's coming into the UFC and kind of has to make a name up for himself off his first fight, so he's going to try to do something. And hey, he could get his first ever surprise submission, right, in the UFC. So
yeah, Mark De La Rosa is a solid pick, I think, man. Value's all on Mark, I think, here. Plus 180, some good value. I'd wait for him maybe to get into the plus 200 range and to then take a stab at him. But I'm all booked up on the fights. Not going to be taking any more bets probably. Might be eyeing one more, but fuck, I don't know if I'm going to take it. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, next up we got Mateus Nicolau minus 277 taking on Louis Smolka plus 240. So Mateus Nicolau, man, coming off a USADA suspension for either a year or two. I think he was on a 2-year suspension. The kid can crack like a motherfucker. Good standing
Jackson
up.
Winks, man.
Yeah. Originally trained at Nova União too. and a kid can just crack on the feet, man. He originally was on what was it, Tough Brazil, and he
Yeah.
won. I think he won Tough Brazil, or he came not came in second. He might have came in like he got signed off Tough Brazil or whatever, and he's nasty on the floor. He locked up a Japanese necktie on
Nasty
that one
submission.
guy,
Rodriguez.
Bruno, Rodriguez, and full nasty submission, exactly like Gibbs saying. Um, so this guy, once it hits the mat, it's gonna be pretty fucking dangerous for Louis Smolka. We know he's not a top grappler. He got out grappled by a few guys, by Ray Borg, by Brandon Moreno. So I think that's this guy's most best path to victory here is to Nicolau bring us to the mats. But even if he stays standing, I think Nicolau can crack him and take him out like that. So I do have Matheus Nicolau with 3 units with him and Vettori to win. Minus 117 to win 2.57 units. I'm pretty fucking confident in that one. Yeah, I think Nicolau gets the job done. I think Vettori gets the job done. So, and I think Matheus Nicolau makes it look rather easy on Louis Smolka too. I think Smolka saying he's coming off of his addiction to alcohol. He's being an alcoholic and he was blacking out and whatnot. And that's just not the things you want to be hearing from a fighter. Might want to go get some help. I'm not sure if he wants to be fighting at this time. Probably get yourself taken care of first. But man, like I'm saying, I think this is the perfect spot for Matheus Nicolau to come back and just make an impression on all the fans here and do his job and get the win. So I do have him for 3 units.
Wow.
How about you? What do you think?
I actually never knew about those problems that Louis Smolka was going through. I think that shows a lot in the last 3 fights that he's had. Obviously, he is on a losing streak, and it is to high level and top, fighters. I think. I don't think it's against super slouches, right?
Yeah.
I think. I mean, Louis Smolka this is definitely a bit of a sleeper fight because you have to know which Smolka turns up. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be the Smolka who turns up, who throws really good knees, has a great clinch game, good groundwork, and great elbows, or Pereira that guy's awesome. I think Pereira has something special. He's really calm under pressure, very explosive. Great takedowns. His jiu-jitsu, I think, is super strong. Actually, I saw him roll with the gi on, super good. He got great high kicks, and
yeah, he does. His Muay Thai is nasty. Man.
Oh yeah.
His Muay Thai is nasty, legit. He's legit.
This is definitely the type of fighter who can pull the trigger on any strike and land it and knock you out. Many people want to hear that Smolka should be hungry after those last few fights.
I don't see it.
Obviously, the alcoholism, it's not something that you see, right? So it's going to be a hard fight for him. He has to hope that maybe Pereira gets a little too punchy, which he does tend to do. I feel like Pereira, when he starts really throwing bombs and really landing, he widens his feet a bit and really plants. And I think in those moments, he can take a few shots as well. And maybe if Smolka can, like I said, bring back that old elbow, the old stuff, and maybe he can do it. And, Smolka is still young. He's 26 years old. It's not lost for him, but it's definitely, he's not in a good spot. And he really needs to pull something off here because, the UFC is watching him. And I don't think another loss is going to keep him in the UFC much longer.
Yeah, I believe so too, man. I think he might get cut pretty damn soon.
Over Ben Nguyen,
Yeah.
Crazy.
This is the same guy exactly who beat Ben Nguyen. Just like his last few fights, man. Like Tim Elliott, Ray. Did he fight Elliott? Yeah, he
Yes,
did.
he
Yeah,
did.
he
Right.
fought Elliott at
Ray Borg, you're right.
Kansas City, and then he fought Ray Borg. Then he fought Brandon Moreno.
Yep.
All three good grapplers. All three guys who like fucking bring the pressure to him is what I think Matthias Nicolau is going to do too. So for that reason, I have Nicolau all day here, man. I think,
Yep.
like I said, man, the problem with alcohol is not to joke with. I hope he does get better. God bless, brother. But we're in the betting game, so I'm picking Nicolau all day here. Next up, we have Miles Jury at minus 229 and Red Glenn at plus 200. Originally, when I saw this fight, I was leaning on Miles Jury here as thinking Jury Jiu-Jitsu was going to get the job done. This guy's legit on the floor. He's fucking nasty, black belt. He's good everywhere, man. He can knock you out standing. He's good everywhere. Miles Jury's good, but he's inactive, super
Yeah.
inactive.
Good.
Yes.
What? 3 years?
Yeah, he got hurt. He took 3 years or 2 or 3 years off.
Yeah.
Came back, taken now, which is almost another year off. He's just inactive, man. I'm not sure at what point, at what caliber of fighter he's gonna be able to like. It's gonna come up hard against him. And what I saw in the last Rick Glenn fight against Yavin Tucker was Rick Glenn and since he had Team Alpha Male, hit like a new stride of himself or some shit. Yeah, he's fucking looking great. Literally just thrashed the hype train of Gavin Tucker, the one I was on massive. I had a max bet on Gavin Tucker at like minus 220 or something. And I personally, I thought Gavin was going to run through Rick Glenn. Rick Glenn showed him what's up, showed him that veteran savviness. And this is a guy who was a champion at World Series of Fighting, multiple champions and multiple organizations. He has that grit and determination too, man. And I think he's at a good camp now, being at Team Alpha Male. Going against Miles Jury though, it is a tough match, but I do think Rick Glenn gets his shit done, man. I think he grits this out. I'm going with the underdog here, my boy Rick Glenn. I think he gets the job done here. Some wrestling and whatnot, bringing the pressure forward and whatnot. I think he gets the job done. How about you?
Well, it's funny because Miles Jury's about 2-3 year break was the exact amount of time where Rick Glenn was about the same about the same fights as him. They were both about 16 fights in, and Rick got 4 more in that time. Now he did suffer one loss to Evan Dunham, but he's been doing pretty good against guys like Hernandez, Felipe, and Gavin Tucker, which I thought was a great fight. Gavin Tucker wasn't pussyfooting that. He was looking for a knockout. He was swinging bombs in that fight from the early rounds, actually. And
he gassed himself out hard, Gavin.
Oh yeah. But I think it was Rick Glenn's great mind and very calm demeanor that kind of got him through it. I think training at Alpha Male with all those light guys really is good for your eyes because they all look like they're used to seeing lightning, right?
Yeah.
And when they don't see that, I mean, they're relaxed in there. They're looking good. They're making very little movements that are unnecessary. Even giving Gavin Tucker a flash knockdown with a nice left hand. He knows what he's doing. Miles Jury again taking that those few years off. Lost against Charles Oliveira. But he did look pretty good against Mike De La Torre. Some good leg kicks, and he's got some well-timed takedowns. A great ground game that pretty much won him the rest of the fight. So, I mean, that 2-year hiatus is a bit much. So I'm gonna stick with Rick Glenn on this. I'm really impressed with him, and like I said, I think that alpha male training really does help him out in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Glenn gets the job done here, and I wouldn't be mad at anybody taking the shot here. I'm Rick Glenn at plus 200. Next up, we got Mark Bone Crusher Diakase at minus 176, taking on Dan the Hangman Hook at plus 155. This is a fucking fight. This is a great fight, man. Mark Diakase coming off that loss to
Jakar Close.
Jakar Close. Great fight.
Talk about that fight.
Yeah, controversial fight with the leg kicks and whatnot and how it was scored. A lot of people thought DKC won that fight. I took DKC. I had money on him, and I still don't think he won that fight. That was a good fight overall, man. You can see the flashiness of DKC, and he comes with his body kicks and stuff. He's coming to hurt you, man. He's coming to hurt you, and he's when he faced Teemu Packalén, like he was just having. As soon as he hits that one stride and he hits you and he gets going, like if he hits something flash on you, you're fucked. You're fucked because he gets this momentum and this like he just gets this like this feeling like you can see it as soon as he hit.
He's in the zone, you know.
Yeah, he's in the zone. He boom. He hits this two-piece like spinning back kick where it goes to the head and to the body. I don't know if you saw it against Teemu Packalén where he spins and it's like a spinning a side kick to the body, but he goes spinning side kick to the body and then side kick to the head. So he goes bang bang and he does it in the air. It's insane, and he hit it perfectly on Teemu Packalén. He starts smiling, starts hitting him with overhand right. He starts hitting him with high kicks and jumping side kicks and shit. And then
really has fun in there.
Yeah, and then he finishes him. He knocks him the fuck out with a beautiful overhand right, like a ducking overhand right. In his previous fights too against Lucas Sajowski or whatever his name is, and sorry, I got lost now. Who is this other fight?
Frankie Perez and
Frankie Perez, which was a fight where like a lot of people didn't think he had the grappling advantage against Frankie Perez, you know, and people were thinking he was just gonna strike with him. Man, he wrestled the fuck out of Frankie Perez.
Yeah, that was a big feat because Frankie Perez trains at Ricardo Almeida, and that's a big jiu-jitsu guy there.
Yeah, 100%. If you're training at Ricardo Almeida, especially in that fight team, man, in the clinch you're usually pretty fucking dangerous, and he was having his way with Frankie Perez. Frankie Perez, he gets some good training too. Like I said, I'm Kennedy's with Frankie Edgar and fucking Marlon Moraes and all those guys. And he was just having his way with them. And I think in this fight, I think he has the striking advantage. I think he has the wrestling advantage. I think the striking advantage is a little bit closer than what it seems. I think Hangman Hooker he's a big lightweight, man. Big boy at lightweight. He was a featherweight before. So him fighting at featherweight was fucking ridiculous. The guy was 6 feet tall fighting at featherweight. And, yeah, literally 6 feet tall. And now he's fighting at lightweight. He's huge.
6 feet at 147.
Yeah. Oh, he's huge. And then he's fighting at. You just tripped me out. 140. It's 145 or 146, isn't it?
Oh, sorry.
You're thinking of boxing. You're thinking of boxing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Featherweight's at 147 now. Yeah. But what you will call it here? Diakase, like I said, he has a striking advantage here. I think he lights Hooker up on the feet and he wins the decision. Maybe a 29-28 decision overall. So I'm pretty confident in him. I threw 2 units at minus 187 to win 1.06 units. Like I said, pretty fucking confident in Diakase. So how about you, Gabe? What do you think?
Well, I think Mark Diakase, we've already talked about him. The guy smashes people, just goes through guys. And even with a lot of people's past experience in grappling, it doesn't even seem to really phase him. I mean, he's still jumping and spinning. He's still throwing his side kicks. He is being taken down, but he seems to know how to wrestle out of it. He seems to know how to keep from being in really, really bad positions. Obviously, against a high-level Drakkar Klose, we did see some holes in his game and a bit of a gas out. And for a guy who doesn't get very many submissions, this guy was going for heel hooks like nothing.
Yeah, no kidding. Fuck.
He's very bold, so I can actually see him pulling off submissions. I don't know how he only has one, because he looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he looks like he's pretty legit on the floor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, maybe if that's like a tactic, or he's kept him off the map for a while, which is really cool if that's his whole plan. But, I mean, Dan Hooker seems a little more spread out, good at kickboxing, good at submissions, seems to struggle with guys like Jason Knight, Yair Rodriguez. So,
yeah,
obviously...
That was the one thing I was going to say, too. The Yair Rodriguez fight kind of stood out to me because of the flashiness of Yair, too, and his Taekwondo background. I thought Yair lit him up. But, fuck, man, that fight against who was it, Ross Pearson, he looked like lightweight might be his fucking thing, man. Like, this is, like you're saying, man, he's all around very good. He's legit. Dang, this was a tough fight to pick. Ever so slightly am I leaning, and I'm betting DKC, but Dan the Hangman Hooker is no joke for sure.
I think the Drakkar Klose fight might be a bit of a reality check for DKC. Maybe he might change his style enough that it might become even more effective in the way he wants it to, and he can avoid those decisions, because it doesn't seem like his style is very fitting for those, because he goes for very high risk and big gamble moves,
Yeah.
So I do think that Dan Hooker could have a pretty good advantage here. So I'm picking him, actually. I liked how he knocked out Ross Pearson. I think he's a little more balanced in terms of he's got some submissions, got some kickboxing. So again, I think it's going to be a high-paced fight, and we're going to see a lot of shit in this one. So it's close. I'm still taking Mark Hooker.
Yeah.
It's right down.
Yeah, it's a close fight for sure. Like I'm saying, I just big fan of DK. I think he gets the job done here. I think he's a better striker overall. But let's jump to our next fight here. I think this is the last of the prelims. We got Khalil Roundtree minus 284 taking on Michael Oleksiejczuk plus 245. Gib, do you want to take this one?
Well, Michael, I have to say he has a very, very interesting fighting style. The guy just ends people. He runs through a lot of guys. He looks kind of small for heavyweight. And the guy's
he's a light heavyweight.
Yeah,
light heavyweight. But he looks small. I know what you're saying. He looks small for light heavyweight. It looks like he should be a middleweight. Even I got to compete at 170 for fuck's sakes.
He doesn't look 6 feet, man. And a lot of the fights that he fought, some of those guys were very different in size. I mean, some guys were a little taller than him, but I find a lot of the guys were kind of around his height to small and kind of little stocky. He has a very surprising style. It's constant pressure, and what happens to these guys is they go into the UFC and they try a lot of this stuff and it doesn't exactly work. Guys end up kind of being eaten up by the lights, I guess, and Khalil Roundtree has already had 2 losses in the UFC prior to being there against guys who were veterans and guys who had a few losses and had a few wins. So they knew how to deal with some new kid coming in, right? And I think that's how Khalil Roundtree might even take this fight. His fight against Paul Craig was laughable.
Yeah. Oh
because
my gosh.
I mean, he embarrassed Paul Craig, and Paul Craig
stood over him like it was
oh,
nothing.
Paul Craig looked embarrassed to throw leg kicks at him because every time he would throw one, he was so hesitant. Like he would throw half of a leg kick and kind of look at him like, I wonder if that hurt, you know?
Yeah.
And Khalil Roundtree had his hands down, you know, just dancing on him. Had a super wide stance, pretty much inviting leg kicks. At one point, he even grabs his leg and kind of throws it away and then pops a big overhand right.
Yeah.
I love how this guy fights in the stand-up. He's very, very, very big powerhouse of a fighter.
Yeah.
But you're going to get that, especially with a guy whose nickname is Warhorse. I got to take Khalil Roundtree because he's kind of been around the block before in the UFC a bit. You know, obviously, I'm sure Zuik is Oleksiejczuk.
I can't even say his last name.
I think this guy is definitely going to go head first and really go for that that 1 round KO. And I mean, I give him a round of applause if he gets it, but I think Khalil's going to be ready for that, and he's going to storm the kid if he tries to do anything early or not play politely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, this guy's just a kid. He's 22 years old, so coming into the UFC under the bright lights, a lot of things are against you, man, especially this being somewhat of a short notice fight. He did get some, I don't know how long of a training camp, but originally this was supposed to be against Gokhan Saki, which would have been a great fight. Roundtree versus Saki.
I think Gokhan Saki would take him.
Yeah, I was leaning Saki too. Saki's just something else on the feet, but I can't wait to
really? You're going to put up Lord against him?
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
It seems like a bit of a mismatch. Like, if you're gonna fight,
it would be a stand-up fight too. You know, it wouldn't be like anyone wrestling. So, stand-up wise, like Saki versus Roundtree, like who would you take? You know.
Well, this fight I can't see going on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Roundtree doesn't like going around. Doesn't even fuck with the ground.
No.
As you can see, that Andrew Sanchez.
I think you got stubbed from the ground before.
Yeah, and this guy, like you're saying, is just a powerhouse. Comes with those scary heavy body kicks, nasty roundhouses, very powerful in the clinch. He's got some breakaway punches and elbows that are beautiful in the clinch. He's got overhand rights that are devastating. He can put you to sleep almost any way. And he's powerful, man. His knockouts of downhill jolly, that knee in the clinch, and then or that knee when he was defending a takedown, and then the knockout of Paul Craig shows you how much of a powerhouse this kid is. And like Gibbs said, he's already taken his losses, and he's fighting a guy who's small for in the division already, in the Oleksiejczuk. Looks like a 185er, a national 185er. Could fight at fucking 170, man. This guy looks small. And I think Khalil Roundtree just runs through him. I think this is one of the easier picks on the card, in my opinion. I think his paths to victory are, he's going to knock him out, and the staying standing, and who's going to get knocked out is whoever is. I think the better striker is going to win this fight, is pretty much what I'm saying. And I think the better striker is Roundtree. So I have 5 units on Roundtree. I max bet him. 5 units, Roundtree, minus 265 to win 1.88 units. Very confident in that. I think I cash it, man. I do like Roundtree a lot here. I think he gets the job done.
Oh, yeah.
So we're both on Roundtree. And now let's move on to our next fight. Minus 158, Carlos Condit, and Neil Magny plus 140. I'll let you take this one, Gib.
I think this is a great business fight because, I mean, Carlos Condit needs to get back in it. Obviously, Neil Magny needs to as well after the Dos Anjos loss. So this is going to be interesting. I mean, these are 2 guys who I'm sure a lot of people wanted to fight. Or wanted this one to happen a long time ago. For once, Neil Magny is going to be a little bit bigger than his opponent because Carlos Condit, is normally taller than most guys he fights. And you won't have that for the first time. So it's going to be interesting to see how
slightly bigger. I don't think he's going to look huge compared to him, but he'll look slightly bigger.
It says 6'3" to about 6'1". So I'm not sure how that'll, pan out when we actually see it, right? But Carlos Condit, generally, amazing kicker. He's one of those guys that can just out of nowhere from 0 to 60 just turn up the pressure on you. And even when he turns the tap down a bit, he always keeps a good enough pressure that it keeps you working, and you're not going to gamble. You're really gonna try to keep a calm head and wait. But in that time, you're keeping a calm head and waiting. Carlos Condit is just setting up another, another time where he's going to turn the tap on and bang. He loses to guys who have good submissions like Damian Maia and obviously Rafael Dos Anjos, but I don't really see Neil Magny as a big submission dude either. Again, if anything, I think he tends to lose to the submission as well. So I think it's gonna be a crazy stand-up war, pretty much. I don't know. It's really close, seeing as Carlos Condit is one of my big favorite fighters. But I mean, Neil Magny, he's super good, and with the win over guys like Hector Lombard and Gaslam and Johnny, Hendricks. So it's this is gonna be close, man. I think I'm gonna go with Carlos Condit. I really want to see him make a splash back into the UFC. I know it might not be the greatest pick to go with someone who recently quit, but I mean, maybe he got a clear head in that time and can make something happen. But I mean, I don't think you should sleep on either of these. This is a coin flip fight.
Yeah, I think this is a close fight, but I agree, man. I've Condit all day here. I think the way he just finishes up his combinations are just – this guy will hit you with a 6-piece combination super quick.
Like it's nothing.
Go
right back to jabbing.
Yeah, and then boom, jab again, double jab. And he plays that game a lot. Can play on the outside, can play on the inside. His durability is known. I arguably think – I can argue with almost anyone and say he won 4 out of 5 rounds, or at least at the very least he won 3 out of 2 against Lawler. So I think
I back at that fight, researching for the Lawler fight, and I believe that. And at the time, I was actually so roped into the bar atmosphere that I didn't realize who really won that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you tend to get roped into how the fight's going, and you're really rooting for people. You're really only waiting. Yeah.
You're just hoping.
Pretty much. And, I mean, obviously, you pick a guy and you hear his name called and you're going to go, yeah, he won that fight. And then you got to kind of fill in the blanks of how he won. But when you look back and you kind of go and see it, you're like, oh, shit, I might have called this one wrong.
Yeah, he didn't win. And
I don't think he won at all.
So I think the judges had that one wrong. I think Condit had – I think that took a lot out of Condit, and then he took that long layoff, fought Maia, Maia strangles him within a minute or whatever, so he takes no damage. But he fights Maia and he gets strangled. After Maia, this guy is offered time over a year now, or probably just about a year, and starts a coffee business and whatever, and this guy is you're wondering where his head's at and everything, but then he gets the call and he's fighting Magny, and I think people are rating Magny a little bit too highly. This guy's cardio is good. He's durable and stuff, but he's prone to the leg kick like a motherfucker, and he's prone to the body kick. The Rensselaer can let him the fuck up and put him away. And I don't see this being a fight where he's taking over a gas tank like he did in the Johnny Hendricks fight or in the Hector Lombard fight. I think this is a fight where he's getting pressure just as much, and I think Carlos Condit's not going to take a step backwards. I think this is a good fight for Carlos to get his name back in the hat and everything at 170, and I do like him a lot here. I think he gets the victory. I got 2.32 units on him at minus 155 to win 1.5 units. And I'm pretty confident in that one, man. I think Condit gets the job done here. So, I clicked on the wrong thing.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, but next up we got Cynthia Calvillo minus 247 and Carla Esparza plus 215. This is the last fight I'm going to do tape on, too. Thinking about pulling the trigger on Cynthia Calvillo. I do have the over rounds here. Let me go check quick what I have it at. 2 units, Calvillo Esparza over 2.5 rounds at minus 177 to win 1.13 units. Thinking about taking Calvillo, but then again, it's a risky. I think this is going to play out on the ground. And in that case, if it's playing out on the ground, anybody can win. I think both of them are accomplished grapplers. I think Calvillo's a notch above the Cookie Monster, though. I think she's a little bit better of a grappler and with explosiveness and her grappling ability, her wrestling, her jiu-jitsu, everything. I think she's just a little bit a step above Esparza there, and I think she's stronger as well. Striking wise, I think that's Esparza's best route to victory. I think it's tough. She might be the better striker than Cynthia Calvillo, which is why I'm probably going to do tape, but I don't know. It's probably a pass for me overall. I do like the over a lot here. I think it goes the distance to the 3 rounds. I think nobody's getting finished. I know being grappling of a contest, it could be finished with a choke or whatnot, but I think they're both accomplished grapplers, and I don't think that's the case here. But like I do side with Cynthia Calvillo here. I don't think Esparza brings much to the table either, and I think Calvillo is just on a better level right now than Carla Esparza, and for that reason, I'm siding with Cynthia Calvillo. How about you, Gib?
Again, man, Cynthia Calvillo is from Team Alpha Male,
Yeah.
so no better place. Obviously, Carla Esparza has been in the game so long, and really only loses at the top, right? It's it's interesting that Cynthia Calvillo spent so much time in the amateurs, so she was really able to determine what type of style that she wanted to play her MMA in, and with such a low kind of pro fight career, she's been able to stay pretty loyal to that. She does pick up the odd decision here and there, but overall she finishes more than she really does get the decision. And Carla Esparza, again, this is super even. I agree with you, man. If it goes down to a submission, I mean, they're going to be on the ground for a long time because both of these people are great at jiu-jitsu. So, being on the ground for like 1 minute is probably not going to do it for either of them. If they're going to try to grind each other out and see what happens, then I guess we'll know who the better grappler is by the end. But I say it does go to a decision, and I'm taking maybe Carla Esparza in this one. I think she wants another shot at the belt, and she did win her last fight. So I think if she wins this one, maybe she can get a shot at the the discussion table for a possible contendership, and hell, she might even fight Rose for the second time because she might have bragging rights on that one.
And that division shit's fucked up. You can fight anybody at any time.
Oh yeah, well again, she beat Rose previously, so I mean she kind of has argument there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. She won the inaugural strawweight championship against Rose. So there's a little bit of an argument there to be made. But yeah, I think I'm on the Calvillo bandwagon here, and I might be betting her at minus 247. I think anything under minus 250 is value. So that's what I'm looking for right now, and I might make a bet there. Next up is one of my favorite fights of the night is the return of Khabib Nurmagomedov, the fucking eagle, man. The fucking eagle taking on Edson Barboza. Khabib's minus 271, Edson's plus 235. And rightfully so, man. I see a lot of people saying this line's messed up. This line's not messed up. Khabib has an 80% chance of winning this fight. If they ran this 10 times, I think he'd win 8 out of the 10 times, maybe even 9. And that to me is he's good for a minus 400, 500 slot there. That means he's been away for a while. People are saying he can't make weight. He's at 169 right now. If you go look on Instagram at Javier Hernandez's page, I'll show everybody right now. That shit, like it's fucking. Oh, and before I do show everybody, I have I got 5 units on Khabib, man. I got 5 units at minus 284. He's at minus 271 right now. If I waited, I would have got a little bit better, but it's all good. Minus 284 to win 1.76 units. So another max bet on Khabib. Where do I start, man? Just look at this. Like, take a look at how my man's looking right here. Boom. You see that, Gib?
Not bad.
He's shredded.
Healthier than he was before. I mean, hey, last time he left, 24 hours before? Or
yeah.
Maybe it was like a good...
He's working with Tyler Minton right now.
I don't think that'll happen this time, though.
No. He's working with the same guy that DC works with, that, what's his name works with? Max Holloway, the melee way. And apparently this guy is like the new Dolce. He's fucking amazing. So he's making this cut. He's at 169 right now, which is amazing. They want you to be 10% when you arrive, and he's 1 pound under that. So he's on cue to make weight. Looks good. Looks shredded at 169. Can't wait to see him at 155. And that guy is a ragdoll machine. He just grabs a hold of you and fucking brings you to the floor, and he beats the shit out of you until you quit. He'll do it time and time again. If he'll do it with 20 takedowns like he did against Abel Trujillo, or 21, whatever it was, and then or he'll do it quickly, or not quickly, but against Michael Johnson, he'll tell you to quit to your face while beating the fuck out of you. I think for 2 rounds. I think it might have been 3.
Well, he won in the 3rd, so
yeah, but which is unreal, you know. Like, he puts a beating on you, man, and his wrestling is so good. You can't imitate, and no wrestling coach can imitate his wrestling and get you ready for that type of sambo wrestling. Nobody can get you ready for that shit. That's impossible unless you're going to AKA. You're not ready for that. And Khabib's the master at it, and I think Edson, who's a great striker, he's a great striker, but Khabib's faced great strikers. He faced Rafael dos Anjos. You know what he did to Rafael dos Anjos? He made him look like a little bitch for 3 rounds.
Oh, you would not expect Rafael dos Anjos to do what he did to Robbie Lawler if someone showed you the Khabib Nurmagomedov.
No, they'd say, who's the Russian guy? Who's that Russian guy just mauling him?
Oh, yeah.
Totally mauling him. Who is that? And you know that Russian guy is a fucking monster. He mauls people. He'll never stop going for takedowns. If he said, I'm gonna shoot 100 times. He says, I'm shooting 100 times.
I think he has the most takedowns in a fight.
Yeah, he has 21 or something.
And I think it was like 21, and then a bunch like 6 attempts that went unanswered.
Oh,
after
my
21 takedowns. That's ridiculous.
That guy, yeah, the cardio for that too, especially. And so Khabib doesn't, and Khabib breaks people's. He makes you look like a little bitch on the floor. So I think Edson's gonna look good, maybe for the first round, light him up with a couple of punches, maybe even wobble Khabib. Who knows? But I think once Khabib gets that snatch single leg that Edson has so far out, because he's a Muay Thai fighter, once he gets that single leg, it's game over. And he's going to snatch that single leg, and he's going to bring him to the floor, and he's going to beat the fuck out of Edson on the floor, I believe. So I got Khabib all day here, man. 5 units, minus 284 to win 1.76 units. Very, very confident in Khabib, like I'm saying, and I know Edson's a tough task, but Khabib, man, it's Khabib time. Let's get it. He's looking as good as ever. I know he wants to win this fight in spectacular fashion, so he can just boom drop his name against Tony Ferguson, because that's the fight a lot of us want to see. We all want to see who's the best lightweight in the world, and we know it's going to be against Khabib and Tony Ferguson. Especially if he gets past this, he can arguably say it's the best lightweight in the world. The man's 24-0. He's never been beaten. He's 24-0.
Oh yeah.
So
you have to understand, this guy was in line, and this is before Ferguson talk. This is before, most guys were thrown into the picture like GSP and Tyron Woodley. This guy was in pretty much first position to take the Conor fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After Floyd Mayweather, Conor was supposed to fight.
Conor said
in
that's
Russia.
who he wants to fight.
In Russia, he wanted to
Yeah.
do it, which I think would have really set up a nice UFC pay-per-view, because you would have got European buys all over, and they would have got their North America buys. It would have been ridiculous. I think it would have been a great card.
Such a good card. The Russian fighters, they could have put Zabit, Taisimov.
Oh yeah,
like killers. They would have stacked the card with.
You could put the Lord on that one and have him win a fight.
Yeah.
Instead of having the fight come out Roundtree, who's probably
is that his nickname, the Lord?
Yes. Yeah.
That's it.
I don't mind that nickname, actually.
I thought it was the Turkish Tyson.
Was it? That's a pretty good one. I would probably take that. He's Polish, I believe.
No, he's Turkish.
Is he?
Yeah.
It says he's Polish here, but
oh fuck, he might be a little.
I don't know. That's just the flag it says. You never know.
Oh, who knows?
But, yeah.
But yeah.
For this fight, man, I'm going with you on this. Khabib, I like Edson Barboza too. Don't get me wrong. This guy's balance is unreal after kicks. He truly is an amazing Muay Thai fighter who kind of has a bit of a freestyle art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this guy works at Almeida doing jiu-jitsu. Can you get that he has one submission?
No way.
How does that happen?
I thought he would have more than that.
Edson Barboza has one submission, 11 knockouts, and 7 decisions. Now, obviously, the jiu-jitsu is probably only really used to get up and kind of get back into position. But, I mean, this guy's striking really does go front line and center from his 2 windmill kicks, knockouts, right?
Yeah, those heel kicks were spinning heel kicks were scary.
Oh my God. And to the body, like those things are counted as Muay Thai killers.
Yeah, those are more. Those ones are scary.
If you come in with a kind of karate or taekwondo type background, a lot of guys already have you picked as you're going to lose against a Muay Thai dude. But if you use a spinning heel kick to the body, you have a chance, because those will land because of the way that people stand. The balance is awesome.
And it's true. He's the only one who has knockouts to the legs. He's TKO'd people with leg kicks. He's TKO'd people with body kicks, and he's TKO'd people with head kicks. He's dangerous, man.
He loses to the top guys, Tony Ferguson, Michael Johnson, Donald Cerrone. But these are guys who Khabib was either in line to fight or have already dummied.
Yeah.
And again, I got to go back to Khabib on this. The guy goes for takedowns. And one thing about takedowns is sometimes people have their head off to the side, kind of right where the not on the top of the chest, but kind of on the side. And they're very viable to get hit with like a guillotine or like a headlock. And Khabib shrugs this off like it's fucking nothing.
Oh, he doesn't even care about the guillotine.
No, he could take you down any way he wants and have no fear. Like you have a lot of balls to go in, have your head pretty much right, front line and center, and guys go for the guillotine. They just don't get it because his neck is absolutely D's.
Like we saw Michael Johnson jump for the guillotine at one point. He thought he had
Couldn't get it. Could not get it. Not on Khabib, man.
Yeah, put himself in danger.
Yeah.
Throwing himself on the floor against Khabib, which was the stupidest move I've ever seen. But
good luck. I mean, I have to give a clap to anybody. If Edson Barboza can get a second submission over Khabib, that would be the the biggest win, at least over Khabib to get.
Even if you can knock him out.
Oh yeah. Hell, a decision win would be nice at this point.
If he can beat Khabib, if he's the first guy to beat Khabib, that's huge.
Oh yeah, that's a title shot instant if Barboza does it. So obviously he's got that going for him. But I got Khabib in this. I don't think he makes it past the. I don't know. I think if it does go to the decision, Khabib will still probably win by points if the takedown game is nice. But even his boxing is pretty crisp, I have to say.
Yeah, I believe so too. It's getting a lot better, at least.
Oh yeah, it's great, and it works great with his wrestling. I'm a big backer of boxing and wrestling. I think that those are like the two best you can have if you're going into something like this. So I got Khabib in this all day, no matter what way, submission, decision, or knockout.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%.
Maybe Edson might have the knockout if you were to look at the percentages, but I mean, I'll take 2 out of 2 to 1 any day. So
yeah, I think Khabib has this all day. I think this is. But yeah, let's move on from that. We both have Khabib winning comfortably there. So let's go on to the main event and the fight I'm actually most excited. I'm most excited for this fight. People are like, I'm most excited for this fight. I'm about to go off for my girl Chris Cyborg is a minus 340 favorite. Take on Holly Holm plus 290. I'm going to start it off by saying I got 10 units, man. Yeah, you heard me. All the viewers right now watching, 10 units. Replay it again. 10 units on Chris Cyborg.
10.
Minus 290 to win 3.44 units. Why? This is the biggest mismatch on the card. By far. By far. It's not. This fight should not be sanctioned to the point where, well, it should be sanctioned just because I want to see it. Holly Holm's a viable opponent, 100%. Dangerous because she's the giant killer. She's known to take out all these big giants. Ronda Rousey, and people are thinking she's going to take out Cyborg now. I don't see it. I don't see her being to do anything in this fight. I see the pressure of Cyborg all day, constantly coming forward to Holly Holm, destroying Holly Holm, literally crowding her to the space, and she has about maybe 30 pounds, 40 pounds on her. Cyborg's gonna have on fight night. She's gonna weigh about 170, and she's probably the biggest featherweight there is. So good luck with the bantamweight moving up in weight to fight Cyborg, who hasn't lost in 12 years. Literally looks better every fight too. Her chin hasn't been touched. If you go, I watched her whole photography or at least since Shayna Baszler. So since she was 4-1 in Elite XC, her first fight in Elite XC, I watched all her fights. She does not get touched, man. The most she got touched maybe was by Tanya Evinger, was like 3 punches. She got like three punches by Tanya Evinger, or maybe so.
Now, a long time ago, she fought a girl named Jarina Bars.
Yeah, in Muay Thai.
Jarina Bars in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Who is a Holland kickboxer, by the way.
She's dangerous.
Terrible at MMA. No, she's terrible at MMA.
No, she can't fight MMA, but she's good at Muay Thai.
In Muay Thai, Jarina Bars is the shit. I mean, this girl's.
Yeah.
Holland. Where else do you need kickboxing? I think Bass Rutten is explanation enough. This girl can kill, and I think she got a knee on her and knocked her out, right?
No, she didn't. It went to decision.
Okay. I'm pretty sure she knocked her out. No,
it went to decision. No, go check. It went to decision.
Or was it? It was a Lions fight, right?
Yeah, she's never been knocked out. She's never even been wobbled.
Okay.
She got hit in that fight, 100%, but she was not hurt. She is not hurt. She gave Jarina Bars a lot of pressure, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, how about they're actually bringing up that Jarina Bars fight, comparing her to Holly Holm." Jarina Bars is a way better striker.
Jarina Bars knocks her down. Sorry,
Yeah,
Yeah,
knocked her down.
yeah.
Knocked her down.
She
Yeah.
does pretty well against her, actually. She knocked down like a spinning back kick. Pretty
Yeah.
crazy, I have to admit. But I mean, I don't know. Holly Holmes is that type of girl, though.
Yeah, but Jarena Bars is high level Muay Thai.
Yes.
Holly Holm is high level boxer. So like she's bringing in she's been sparring. Cyborg's been sparring with Clarissa Shields, bro.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's no joke. That's no joke. Clarissa Shields said she's no joke either. So
No,
she's
and
been
Clarissa
sparring.
Shields actually thinks she can make a pretty good career out of boxing if she wanted to.
Yeah.
So, she's training with some top prospects here.
And she trains with from EFC, that world champion. I forgot his name. He was on the countdown. He's a Muay Thai Muay Thai champion. Now he's the champion at EFC. This kid is a fucking killer, and they had to bring in a guy to
Mario Ferreira?
no something. I don't know his name. They had to bring a young kid. Fuck, I don't know his name, but they brought him in to like imitate Holly Holm, and like he says like Holly Holm's going down. Jason Perillo, who I think is the best one of the best boxing coaches for MMA. I think he'll develop a good plan for beating Holly Holm. I think it only goes so far that Holly Holm's gonna be able to like kick and run away. She's only gonna be able to do that for so long. What's gonna score Holly Holm points here? What's she gonna be able to do? She's gonna kick and run away for 5 rounds? No, there's no way. Because as soon as Cyborg gets a hold of, if Cyborg gets her to the floor, the fight's over. I'm pretty sure, man. I think the fight's over because she ground and pounds her, and it's done. Cyborg's too strong on the floor. She's a brown belt. She rolls with Gabby Garcia every fucking day. Like she spars against Gabby Garcia. Like Gabby Garcia's 250 pounds, bro.
Yeah, she's fighting professional wrestlers, man.
Yeah. Still, that's Gabby Garcia. Like, if
I know, but I mean, until she's fighting people who are
oh yeah, no, I don't
caliber. Like, she's
I don't
kinda,
no, I don't think highly of her at all. I'm just saying, Gabby Garcia is 250 fucking pounds.
Yeah.
She's huge, So to be able to spar against her, and like that's already a whole that like I think Cyborg's ready for this fight. I think she tears through Holly Holm. I think she rips her apart. I think she's going to be able to pressure her into the cage and clinch her up real nice and land some big ass strikes, and she just gets vicious with her. I think she gets it into boxing range and does some damage with her. It catches a kick and brings her to the floor. I think she gets close to her and she does some damage. But like I said, man, I got Cyborg all day here. I think this is the biggest mismatch of the card. And for that reason, I got 10 units on Cyborg at minus 290 to win 3.44 units. So I'm very, 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 very confident in this pick. And Gib, it is your turn.
Well, I mean, we've already talked about this before. Previously in the upcoming weeks. Obviously, Cyborg is just a freak. Like, she really is in a league of her own. If this girl came over when, Ronda or any sort of women's division was formed, one, it would be formed around her, and two, she probably would not lose. I don't really see her losing with anyone in the UFC they had then, and I don't really see her losing in the UFC against anybody now. But I do think out of anyone in that division, I think Holly Holmes and Amanda Nunes, maybe Shevchenko. There are very select few girls who could.
I think Shevchenko is too small for it because Shevchenko's talking about going to 125.
Yeah. But what about Jermaine Durand?
No, she's scared. She said, "I don't want to fight Cyborg. Here's my belt."
She beat Holly Holmes, by the way.
She was so scared to beat
Nunes.
Yeah, but she was so scared to face Cyborg that she gave her title away to Cyborg.
Oh yeah.
That's bad, man. That was
It
bad.
It is. And obviously, I still think that Holly might have a bit of a chance with that kind of, Jackson wink, hit a few times, jump away. Now that'll only work if you're successful with landing those little shots and those shots where you can kind
But
of.
for how long, Gib? How long is that going to last? 5 rounds against Cyborg?
Well, again, it's all it all depends on how the fight plays out, right? I mean, if you start landing a lot of these shots early, you could get into that zone, and all of a sudden, maybe things just kind of mildly annoy you now, or maybe things kind of, you're not overreacting to them, so you're not making any big mistakes that someone like Chris Cyborg can follow up on. Now, Holly Holm is older, so Chris Cyborg has the age advantage.
She's older than Cyborg?
Holly Holmes, yes.
Yeah, she is. She's like 30. She's in her late 30s now, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Which, man, huge stamina drop there already. Chris Cyborg, she's like in her early 30s. So
that's something else people are saying, that like Cyborg is going to fade later on in the rounds. Bro, Cyborg works at 170 something BPM. Like, she's an insane athlete, and it takes 30 seconds for her to get down to a normal beats per minute again. Like, she's an insane athlete, man.
Cutting weight. She was also cutting weight like crazy during that time.
Oh yeah, and like
pushing numbers like that.
I think now she can comfortably make 145. Well, I'm not sure about comfortably, but I know she can make 145, and then to perform at 145 is just like, bro, she's a beast, man. She's just something. She's a freak. Like, if you wanted to make the perfect girl fighter, you'd make Cyborg.
I agree.
You'd make Cyborg.
I think she's the closest thing to. Look at her neck. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Like, you're not choking her out.
No, probably
not. You're probably not knocking her out, because she's never been. Her chin's not even compromised. She's probably never even been in hard gym wars. People don't want to spar against her.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Holly Holm's been knocked out brutally, like bad by Anne-Sophie Mathis when in that first boxing match where
that
she
notorious boxing fight.
And she knocked her out bad, man.
I think that's in boxing history. It's one of like the most brutal knockouts, and it's a woman's kind of division of sport. So that's pretty crazy. And I mean, the amount of fights Holly has had. You look at her UFC career with maybe 14 fights, but I mean, you add in the boxing, you add in the kickboxing. That's I don't know. She's probably had close to 90, 80 fights.
Oh, at least.
Jeez. So, I mean, obviously, Chris Cyborg has had kickboxing fights too.
She's had Muay Thai fights.
Obviously, high-level jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Obviously, the one thing she lacks is maybe boxing. So, I mean, Holly Holmes could have
I think her hands are
getting in her back pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think her hands are getting a lot better working with Perillo now. Like, that's why she went to go work with Perillo, and her hands are like really good now.
That's true. I think Holly has the advantage still in terms of an educated jab and a bit of a more calm demeanor of boxing with points. But you're right. How long can you do it? And can you do it for 5 rounds? Because she was doing it against Cyborg and lost.
Yeah.
You know? And that's how she usually fights.
And against Miesha Tate, who is pressing her up against the cage and trying to grapple. If that's Cyborg pressing you up against the cage, you're going to the ground and you're going to sleep afterwards.
Well,
or you're getting tired on the cage, because there's no way you're carrying Cyborg's weight on you for 5 rounds. There's no way.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't even want her that close to you at that point.
Yeah, so like that's the thing. She's gonna have to fight at a distance where like she's always gonna be able to throw a kick, and that's all she's gonna be able to throw. She can't get into boxing range with the Cyborg, because Cyborg will eat her apart. I think her best assets in boxing range.
Yeah, I think the boxing will be able to maybe get her out of a few busy situations, and she's got to get back to the kicking. She's got to get back to throwing, not getting hit, being able to back up, maybe making Chris make some big decisions early and leading up into a finish or something. But, man, you're talking about Chris Cyborg here. Again, it is not an easy task, and this isn't even an easy fight for me to pick, but I am picking the Miracle. I'm picking the preacher's daughter.
Oh
I think Holly Holmes does it. I mean, I can't say how. I don't even know how. She's gonna have to show something. But I want
decision. If she wins, it'll be by decision.
Yeah, probably. I want to see Holly Holmes take it. Obviously, the Betch Cuera fight was a bit of a bone to throw her. I mean,
Yeah.
Betch. You're not gonna get Chris Cyborg to put her hands down and taunt you. You know.
Yeah.
And if she does that, I mean, hey, you got a beautiful win there after that kick. So I think Holly Holmes pulls off a miracle and does take her out, you know. But fuck, it's gonna be a massacre if it's the other way around.
She's
in any fashion, by the way, whether decision, submission, or knockout. Cyborg's win is brutal.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Holly Holmes' win is going to be more kind of tame and calmed down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But
I mean, even a submission, Christine would get up after a second.
Numbers, as we see, don't lie. And Cyborg, I know, will say, like, who's the best person she's faced. Okay, I understand that argument, but man, she makes it doesn't matter. She'll make the best. She'll make the best bantamweight featherweight look like trash, I think. And Holly Holm in her last 4 fights, she's faced Valentina Shevchenko or Misha Tate, where she lost. Valentina Shevchenko, she lost. Jermaine Durandamy, she lost. Where she probably should have won on legal points being taken away, but she did lose that fight. And then she beat Betch Cuera, which was like you said, a pretty nice bone to toss her. And after beating Betch, she gets a title shot, which is a little weird, but whatever. This is a fight that Cyborg wanted as well, so I'm all in on Cyborg, man. I think she gets the job done and she destroys Holly Holm here. But yeah, man, I think that's it for 219. You can see all my bets on UFC or UFC bet. MMA.tips/Seb show. You can see our interviews leading up. I had an interview with Jimmy Rivera leading up to the fight with about John Lineker. If you want to rewatch that by any means, go ahead. Yeah, I know he's not a part of the card now, so it's a little wasteful, but we're looking for some more interviews in the further weeks. We'll be on in 2 weeks again to break down UFC St. Louis, Stevens versus Choi. Big matchup. I already have, if you go see, I already put 3 units on Jeremy Stevens to win at plus 145 to win 4.35 units, I believe. And I think my boy Stevens gets it done as well, so let's get it done. Let's win this weekend, boys. Let's get this money. Let's cash. Let's get it, boys and girls. Let's get it. So Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Have a good one, guys.